This is for all the parents who are thinking at the moment about when or if your children should go back to school. I know there's so many things to think of, and there is no right answer. Each one of us is going to have to find our own right answer, and that may change as well week by week. And if we parents, if we adults are struggling to know what's the right decision, just imagine how it must be for our children, the kind of questions that they might be having in their minds, like, is it safe for me to go back to school? If it wasn't safe for me before, why is it safe now? Will my friends be there? Will I have the same teacher? What if I didn't do the work that I was supposed to do? Will I get into trouble? And then all those children, particularly those in year 6, year 11, year 13, who might be coming back in order just to kind of complete and to finish. And what will that be like? It won't be how I expected. And will the anxieties about the big changes that lie ahead, particularly for those children. And it's really important that we adults take the responsibility for the decision and take the responsibility for our anxieties and not put those on the children. Don't underestimate, even the little ones, how much they have taken in about what's going on out there. And they may not understand it, but they do have a sense in which it's not safe out there. There's something out there that's causing death. That actually they might start to carry a sense of, well, if I go to school and I catch that thing and then I bring it home, that burden of responsibility of somehow being the person who brings the illness home, brings the disease and maybe death home, because children very quickly go to extremes, especially when they don't understand things. So they very quickly go to, am I going to die? Is my mum or my dad going to die? Will I be the person who makes my grandparents die? They carry a lot of responsibility, and we need to really protect them from it. And the way that we do that is to, first of all, make sure that any conversations that we have about this and making the decision is done away and out of earshot. So that if we are able to explore our own anxieties and our fears and think it all through, but that our children aren't burdened with that. Equally, when we do come to talk to them, we need to prepare them, because when they do go back to school, whenever that is, school isn't going to look like or feel like how it did when they last left. Chances are there'll be social distancing. There won't be the same people there. There'll be lots of people missing. Maybe there'll be masks. There'll be lots of hand washing. So whilst the last couple of months have been strange for our children, and they've missed many things, their friends and close family members who they don't live with. It has been a bit like a kind of extended summer holiday abroad, so you wouldn't have seen your friends or those other people. When they come back to school, they're going to be really faced with some of the differences, because it's going to be much more in their face if they can't get close to each other, if maybe not all their teachers are there, not all their friends are there. School life is really different. So it's actually likely to perhaps be more challenging and more traumatic for some of our children this next phase as they go back to school. So we need to prepare them. We need to, well, first of all, as parents, we need to find out what it's going to be like at school. Find out how the school is going to manage it, so that you can then describe in advance to your children what they should expect. But we need to do this in quite a light way. We mustn't burden them with rules and you mustn't do this and our own fear, if you like. We must tell them in a way it's going to be like this, and it might feel a bit strange, and this is going to be different, and be there to answer all their questions. Why do we have to do that? And so prepare yourself with how you're going to answer that in a way that isn't going to burden them with a sense of, well, there's still danger out there, and actually you will really be at fault if you don't follow the rules. I think the other thing that may happen is that children will naturally slip up, especially the little ones. They're going to forget, they're going to touch each other, they're going to hug a teacher, or they're going to forget to wash their hands. And if they're frightened, they're then going to, first of all, not feel like they can tell us. They're then going to carry inside them an enormous guilt that maybe they might be the cause of death in their family. So we must make sure that they know that they can tell us if they slip up, and that actually we kind of expect them to, and it's not the end of the world if they do. And if your family has been self-isolating all this time and your child is the first one really to be going out, again, that's a huge burden for them because, of course, if anyone does get sick in your family, they're going to feel like it's their fault. So sometimes it might be helpful just to say, well, I'm going to start going out too. We're all going to start going out a little bit more because it is a bit safer. So they don't feel, that actually they're being pushed out into a world that's not safe and you're still staying home, or that they might bring the infection back into the home and that will all be their fault. So it's a lot for us to carry, and give some thought also to whenever it is that your children go home, when they go to school, when they come home, how are we going to greet them? Decide what your protocol is going to be in terms of, whether they take their clothes off, whether they wash their hands or anything like that. But it's really important that our children feel that we don't relate to them with a sense of kind of distance or, wash your hands, take clothes off, that they feel like in some way they are dirty or tainted. We need to find a way of really warmly welcoming them. And if we can't physically touch them straight away, making sure that they feel our love and that we're greeting them and we're happy to see them, because they're going to be very sensitive to coming back home as well, and sensitive to how we are relating to them. Far more of our communication is through our body language than anything that we say. So just make sure that we are welcoming our children back home after a day of school, because they're going to need a lot of reassurance from us in this next phase. Everything's changing again. Nobody's sure how much we should be worried and what we should be worried about. But as much as possible, let's protect our children from that, and we attend to those needs. And then just also remember that this is going to be a big change, and any big change is draining. So just go back gradually. Whenever it is that you start to go back into your old routines, or at least going back to a new way of some of the old routines, don't overload yourselves or your children. Don't start everything up at once. Expect that actually at the end of the first day or the first week, or, children will be tired and will need to be able to discharge, to relax, to chill, because in some senses their systems will have been heightened. So let's allow them the time to get back into the routines and the pace of school life. And the same for ourselves, as we also might be going back to work or more out into the world. Everything actually, the best way that we can show our children the way is to lead the way, to show them by our example. So you're really in my thoughts, all the parents who are at the moment making decisions about when the right time is to go back to work or for their children to go back to school. And just know that you will do your best at making the right decision. There is no right or wrong decision, but always to bear in mind how it is for our children. It's very different for them, and they're going to need a lot of our support and reassurance. I wish you all well.